Today, we're diving into something that's on a lot of people's hearts and minds, something that maybe feels a bit tricky to talk about. We're going to discuss what it looks like to navigate relationships when you've come to faith a bit later in life, or maybe you've spent time dating outside of your faith community. It's a real journey, right? You bring your past experiences, your old habits, and suddenly, you're trying to figure out how to align them with a new set of values. It's like trying to run new software on old hardware. Sometimes it just doesn't compute. Many of us have heard the common dating advice from the world. Try before you buy, cohabitation as a test drive for marriage. These ideas are everywhere, and they're often presented as practical and wise. So if you've lived that way, or if those ideas are deeply ingrained in you, it's completely understandable that letting them go feels like a huge, maybe even impossible task. It's like you've been walking on a certain path your whole life, and suddenly you're asked to jump to a completely different one. And let's be honest, the old path can feel comfortable, familiar, even if you know it's not leading where you want to go anymore. You might be thinking, okay, I get it. I want to change. I want to honor God in my relationships. But how? How do I actually leave the past in the past? It feels like you're being told to just cut the cord and burn the bridges, but nobody hands you the scissors or the matches. You're left standing there with all this baggage and no clear instructions. This can lead to a lot of confusion, guilt, and a feeling of being stuck between two worlds. You're not fully in your old life, but you don't quite feel at home in your new one either. If this sounds like you, I want you to know you are not alone. This is a common struggle, and it's a journey of grace, not a test of perfection. Today, we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about a simple 3-step guide to help you navigate this transition, to help you truly leave the past behind and step confidently into the future God has for you. This isn't about shame or judgment. It's about freedom and hope. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's get into it. First things first, step 1 is acknowledge and surrender. This sounds simple, but it's the most crucial foundation. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. This means being brutally honest with yourself, and more importantly, with God. It's about saying, yes, I lived this way. Yes, I made these choices. Yes, these habits are a part of my story. There's no need to hide or sugarcoat it. God already knows your whole story, and He loves you completely. Acknowledging isn't just about listing your mistakes. It's about recognizing the mindsets behind the habits. Why did cohabitation seem logical? Was it fear of being alone? Was it a lack of trust in the concept of commitment without a trial run? Digging into the why is so powerful. Once you've acknowledged it, the second part of this step is to surrender it. Picture yourself physically placing those habits, those memories, those fears into God's hands. It's a conscious act of saying, I can't carry this anymore. I can't fix this on my own. I give it to you. Surrender is not a one-time event. It's a daily choice. You might have to surrender the same fear or habit 100 times, and that's okay. Every time you do, you're weakening its hold on you. 1 Peter 5-7 says, cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. Your past relationship patterns, your anxieties about the future, those count. Cast them onto Him. This first step isn't about erasing your past, but about changing its power over your present. You're taking it out of the driver's seat and putting God there instead. All right, moving on to step 2, rewire and replace. Think of your brain as a garden. For years, you've been watering the weeds of worldly dating advice. Those roots run deep. Just deciding not to water them anymore isn't enough. You need to actively plant new seeds and water them intentionally. This is the rewiring part. You need to replace the old thought patterns with new, true ones. So, how do you do that? You have to immerse yourself in truth. This means getting into the Bible and seeing what God actually says about relationships, purity, and commitment. Don't just read the verses, meditate on them. When the old thought, "I need to live with someone to know if we're compatible," pops up, you counter it with the truth that your compatibility is ultimately found in your shared foundation in Christ. When the fear of "what if it doesn't work out" arises, you replace it with the truth of God's sovereignty and His good plan for your life. This is a battle for your mind. It's what Paul talks about in Romans 12 when he says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." It's an active process. Find Christian authors, podcasts, and sermons that talk about godly relationships. Surround yourself with wisdom that builds you up in your new identity, not that reminds you of your old one. You need to replace the old inputs with new ones. If you keep watching the same shows, listening to the same music, and having the same conversations that reinforced your old habits, the rewiring process will be a constant uphill battle. It's time to change the playlist of your life. It's about creating an environment where the new seeds you're planting can actually grow. And that leads us perfectly into step 3, community and accountability. You cannot do this alone. I repeat, you cannot do this alone. One of the biggest mistakes we make is trying to live out our faith in isolation. We think our struggles are ours to handle privately, but that's a lie. The enemy wants you isolated because when you're alone, you're vulnerable. God designed us for community. This means finding trusted, mature believers who you can be real with. This might be a mentor, a pastor, a small group, or just a couple of close friends who are further along in their walk with God. You need people you can call when you're feeling weak, when an old temptation feels strong, or when you're just confused and need godly counsel. And here's the key. You have to give them permission to ask you the hard questions. This is what accountability is. It's not about being policed. It's about inviting people into your life to help you stay on the path you've chosen. If you're currently in a dating relationship, it's vital that you and your partner are on the same page with this. Pursue community together. Find a mentor couple you both respect. Establish healthy boundaries, not just for yourselves, but with the help of your community who can support you in keeping them. For example, instead of spending long evenings alone at each other's apartments, make it a habit to hang out in groups or in public places. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. You're proactively protecting your relationship and your commitment to God. Building these new community habits is what burning the bridges to your old, isolated habits really looks like. It's less about destruction and more about construction. So let's recap the 3 steps. 1. Acknowledge and surrender, giving your past to God. 2. Rewire and replace, actively changing your thought patterns by immersing yourself in truth. And 3. Community and accountability, because you were never meant to do this alone. I want to leave you with this final thought. This journey is a process, not a performance. There will be days when you feel like you've taken 2 steps back. In those moments, do not fall into condemnation. That is not from God. Grace is the fuel for this journey. When you stumble, get back up, dust yourself off. Remember the grace you've been given and take the next right step. Your past does not define you. The choices you made yesterday do not have to be the choices you make today. Your identity is not in your dating history. It's in Christ. He is making all things new, and that includes you. It includes your heart, your mind, and your relationships. Thank you so much for watching and for allowing me to speak into this. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one thing that has helped you in your journey of aligning your life with your faith? Let's encourage each other. We'll see you in the next one.